Hello, my name is Zachary Williamson. Welcome to Beat the Rake DFS. We are a brand new channel. For those of you who don't know me, I've been doing coverage for another website for about 5 years. Unfortunately, that website is no longer operating, but broken off with a couple of my friends and my partners here. I've been playing professional DFS for about, I want to say 2 years now, doing coverage for 5. So I'm excited to bring you guys the opportunity hear me about talking. I'm excited to interact with you guys. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Quickly before we jump into it as well, for those who aren't a Patreon member, please go join the Patreon. Yeah, I am Canadian, so this is actually $12 US, $12 US, and $21.50. Our goal is to bring you premium content for all the sports at a cheaper price. Trying to get underneath the competitors and just make some of the DFS content more, pay friendly, if you will. There's a lot of sites out there that are expensive, and if you're just like a rookie player trying to learn more about DFS, or even if you're an experienced one who just doesn't want to spend all that money on the tools, we have great tools here. If you join our NBA, you get access to our NBA Discord, our cheat sheets, our cores, you get access to our projections, you get access to my ownership projections that I build. And if you join the MMA and the EPL, you get access to our MMA and EPL projections, as well as our cheat sheets and cores for those sports. And then all access gets you everything as well. We do have MLB coverage in the works, and we crushed MLB at the other site. So excited for MLB to start here. That'll be brought in. So yeah, just go join the Patreon. Really help us produce this content. And again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, so we can get out to more people and they could really start to explore. So I'm talking soccer. EPL is back. We had a long international break. As a Canadian, I had a great international break. Obviously, we won all 3 of our games. It was great seeing the Canadians win, but I'm back. And I'm so excited for EPL to be back because EPL is actually like my best sport. I do really well just in my MME process, building projections out. I found a way to get a little bit different. So anyway, we've got some interesting games. We'll start out with Newcastle at Everton, Everton at Newcastle. And with that, we're going to see some new bodies in potentially both lineups, but for sure the Newcastle lineup. We obviously know that they signed Kieran Trippier, and him and Ryan Fraser have kind of been splitting sets. But 2 new additions into the Newcastle lineup is Matty Target from Aston Villa and Bruno Gomes from Lyon. Bruno's a good player. I'm excited to see what he'll do in the Newcastle lineup. They did spend some money like everybody thought they would. Obviously, they got Chris Wood in the side too. They got Dan Burn from Brighton. So it's a new look lineup. And I think that there is an interesting game. This is an interesting game to attack because I feel like a lot of people are going to head towards West Ham and head towards Manchester United. And obviously so they are the biggest favorites on the slate. But I feel like this game has some open play value that could be really interesting. Obviously, Ryan Fraser, 5,200 on DraftKings makes a lot of sense. Kieran Trippier is really nice. Chris Wood's a cheap forward as well. Joelinton, cheap. And so I do think that this is a game that I'll have some mixed exposure into on both sides of the ball. And we'll talk about the Everton one in a sec. Bruno Gomes is 3,900 on DK. I don't think he gets sets, even though he was taking them on Lyon. But I think that it'll probably be Trippier and Fraser continuing on with sets. But Gomes has some open play value. He's a holding midfielder, but he's got really good distribution. And he was tearing it up in the French league. So excited for Newcastle to get that player in. And then obviously Chris Wood, always a hound. He's 5K. So I feel like, it's not the prettiest thing to do. I probably don't go there in cash, but in GPP, you definitely take some shots. I think your cash game plays, if you play cash, is probably going to be Ryan Fraser on this side of the ball. But in GPP, don't be afraid to stack Newcastle because I think this game is going to be a lot more DFS friendly than some people may think. and the pricing's pretty cheap compared to West Ham and Manchester United. So I think this is an interesting game to like stack all around. When we look at Everton, I actually disagree with what SofaScore has as their lineup right now. They have basically them running it back from the weekend, and it's very possible that they do, but Dele Alli and Van de Beek were cup tied. So they didn't actually get in the side. Neither of them were like allowed to play for Everton. Andre, they did win, but we'll see if they run it back. I think maybe you see Van de Beek coming in for like Andre Gomes, or maybe you see Dele Alli for Anthony Gordon or something like that. If you see either Van de Beek or Dele Alli, I think both are too cheap, and I think nobody will play them. If we see Van de Beek, especially next side to like Allen, that means Allen's going to be holding the midfield. It's going to be meaning Van de Beek is going to be allowed to make those runs that he did. Ajax, the ones that got him to Manchester United before he was like not played for 2 years. And so he's DFS friendly. And then Dele Alli is forward mid. So like you can play him in two positions. And he's 3,900. So 4,200 for Van de Beek or 43, and then 39 for Dele Alli makes a lot of sense if they play. If they do run it back, I think like Demarai Gray either way is going to be outsets. So 8,500. I like Demarai Gray as well. I like Pickford as like a goalie look. I feel like Newcastle is not going to be the most clinical. So while they'll have DFS goodness, it might be a good way to rack up some Pickford saves. And then Andre Gomes is 3,000. He's okay. Like, especially if Allen is there. Allen sits back and really allows the other midfielder in the pivot. If you can call like a 3-4-3 a pivot, but they allow them to roam forward more. So 3K, he's not the worst play on the slate, I'd say. So yeah, it'll probably be a 3-4-3. I don't like the wing backs, Seamus Coleman or Vitaly Mikolenko. I think maybe as we see more of Frank Lampard, he might try to get them moving forward. And for those of you who don't know, Lampard is now the manager at Everton. But I don't know. Like he had very attacking wingbacks for Chelsea, but we didn't see them get forward as much on the weekend, and they didn't put a lot of crosses in. So we'll see. Ray Charlison, he's the bane of my existence. I can never get this guy right, but I think you can kind of go there. In GPP, I don't think I go there in cash. And I'm an Anthony Gordon stan, but at 7,000 on the slate, I think you can spend that money in better places. I do like him as like a GPP shout. If you're stacking this game, Anthony Gordon, always in play for me. He's young. He's like 20 years old, and he moves the ball quite a bit. So he's not bad. We'll move on to the next game. It's West Ham United versus Watford. West Ham is the biggest favorites. And West Ham is like a team that always tilts me. So, and it's just because like they switch their set pieces so much. If you see Pablo Farnell's, like it could be a three-way set piece split between Cresswell, Bowen, and Lanzini. I do think you want one of Bowen or Cresswell. I think Bowen will be on sets, but he's really expensive. Cresswell did take one in their last game, and he had a monopoly before he got hurt. But Bowen took everything the game before that when Cresswell had just came back, and so it'll be interesting to see. I do like the idea of playing Jared Bowen against a Watford team. Any of the West Ham guys in cash or GPP makes sense because Watford. So they have the former Crystal Palace man as their manager. What's his name? Why am I blanking? Former English manager too. Roy Hodgson. That's his name. So Roy Hodgson took over. He was Crystal Palace last year. And we saw them. So they played on the weekend. I watched the game. I actually played the DFS slate. I did well. And it was an interesting game against Burnley. It ended up 0-0, but for fantasy purposes, like that's why you play fantasy, so you can watch the Burnley Watford game and enjoy it. But they were playing like back anytime like Burnley got possession, they just like conceded it and were so willing to park, and then they tried to like hit it, and then once they hit it on the counter, they tried to establish possession. I don't know if they try to establish possession as much with West Ham, especially with Emmanuel Dennis back. Kiko Femenia and Edo Kiyembe split sets. I don't think you need to go to either. But if you need like a last guy in, maybe you play like a Kiko Firmino at 4-7. I don't know. Let's see how much Kiyembe is, because if Kiyembe is like 3K, then maybe you could talk me into it. Kiyembe is 46. So no, I'm not gonna play Kiyembe at 46. Like on a different slate, maybe. Like I said, he did have some sets. So that's kind of this game. Like I said, Said Berrama, Manuel Lanzini, maybe you see Pablo Fornells in here, maybe you see how get Mikel Antonio in. You get Jared Bowen, most expensive player of the slate. Vladimir Sufel, I think is cheap. And he could be he's 5K. So I thought he was 4.8 for some reason, but 5K is not bad. There's a lot of wingbacks on this slate, which we can talk about, like the actual breakdown of building after the Man U Burnley game. So we'll go to Man U Burnley, and now this is a repeat of a match we saw a couple weeks back before the international break. Man U won 3-0, 3-1 or 2-1. Ronaldo scored twice, I think. Yeah, they didn't have Wout Weghorst, and Maxwell Cornet was out as well. So, as I said, I watched the game against Watford, and they did try to hold possession. Nick Pope was great, as always, good goalkeeper. Ashley Westwood. So this is why I was still thinking. I ended up doing well, but Ashley Westwood, I faded completely because Maxwell Cornet has been on sets for most of it. And he usually has a monopoly when he's in, and he kept lining over the set piece, and like Ashley Westwood would pull rank and then like just deliver the worst ball. And I was just like, dude, like and then so eventually like Cornet. So I think Westwood took most of the sets in the first half, and then Cornet took everything afterwards. I don't think I'm going to get to either of them against Manchester United. One thing, like I'm a Man U fan, it is a bad time. But one thing that Rangnick has been trying to instill in Manchester United is a possession style game. We saw that against Middlesbrough, even though they didn't lose, or even though they didn't win, the handball, whatever. But I do really like getting towards some Man U here, obviously. Luke Shaw, probably my favorite play on the slate. He's cheap. He took all the sets against Middlesbrough, except I think Bruno took one potentially, and then Mata came on and took some. But for the first half, before they were really chasing that game, it was all Luke Shaw, and then Bruno obviously pulled rank, so he'll have some set pieces. And this is interesting. I really like just like this lineup here for fantasy purposes. Scott McTominay is dropping deep. He's going to drop in beneath these center backs here, usually in possession. And what that allows is that's going to allow Bruno and Pogba. It's more of a 4-3-3 than when they have it. It's not a 4-2-3-1. It's a 4-3-3. I'd say a 4-3-3 like attack, or 4-3-3 flat if you care about that stuff. But so anyway, so this kind of allowed Pogba to make some runs up, and Scott McTominay held midfield. And I don't love McTominay in that role, but I think against Burnley he can pull it off. And so I will say, if you see Rashford on the right, it hurts the low. And it sounds weird, but when Jadon Sancho and Luke Shaw against Middlesbrough paired up, there was a lot of overlap from Shaw, and it really captured his fantasy goodness. If you see Rashford, or it might not even be Rashford, it might be Sancho on the right and Elanga on the left, still like the wing backs. But if Rashford on the right, like it really hurts the low, because you're not going to see as much overlap here. You're not going to see him get as much balls. He's still got like a decent amount, and he's cheap, but I think there's better fullbacks. Like Ryan Fraser is literally playing wing with sets at 5,200. Luke Shaw 5,400, I believe, is also getting some sets, and he's going to have overlap, especially with Sancho. That brings me to my next piece. I do like Jadon Sancho, midfield forward, play him in two spots, 5,900. Probably going to be the second forward that a lot of people play. You'll probably get a lot of Ronaldo Sancho, or Bowen Sancho, or Antonio Sancho, or something like that. So I think Sancho makes a lot of sense. He scored against Middlesbrough. They're trying to hopefully capture this. I will say he went off like he didn't get a knock, I'd say, but he did go off holding his hamstring against Middlesbrough. They say it's not a knock. He's been practicing. So I think he'll be fine. But if you see like Rashford and Alanga, I think Alanga becomes like the Sancho second forward. Get the overlap with Shaw. That'd be good. So Bruno, obviously one of the best players on the slate, always is. He does so much creating for Man U. And same with Cristiano Ronaldo. You kind of need a goal, maybe two, depending on how Bowen or some of the other high price forwards do. But you can always play Ronaldo. I don't know if he'll have pens. He missed a pen, but he did score in penalty shootouts. So I don't know. It is Ronaldo. He can always pull rank, but we'll see. Paul Pogba is someone who I actually kind of like for GPPs, 6K. And because he's like playing next to like a holding midfielder, it allowed him to actually get more forward than I've ever seen him get for Man U, which was really nice until it wasn't. We had a lapse, obviously, but he was doing really well. He picked up a yellow card, but if you take that yellow card out, you take up like a foul or two, I think like he did decently. And he's way cheaper than he was in the FA Cup. Like FA Cup, he was like 8,000, and I know it was showdown, but like he's 6,000 here. So Paul Pogba makes some sense. I'm gonna play a lot of Man U. I don't know if they'll score a lot. It'll probably be like 1 or 2 goals, but they should have a decent amount of floor. Like I said, like Rangnick's really trying to instill this this possession style game, if you will. So anyway, so we'll move on to the next stage of this, and I'm just gonna be trying to build a lineup. So Bowen's expensive, and I think the way you easily get Bowen in is if like you can do this. So say you go like this. No, I want to play him at midfield, forward. I don't want to play him at mid. But maybe you can go like this. You go like Dele Alli at 3,900 against Newcastle. Again, why is it making me? Anyway, so like maybe you want to do that. Okay, sweet DraftKings. I'll just do it myself. Yeah, if you want to play like Dele Alli here, I think you do want to get Bruno into your lineup, and I think you want to do like probably Luke Shaw, Ryan Fraser. So maybe I do that. Now, if you don't see, like, you definitely come in here and grab like Luke Shaw or grab Gene Sancho. There's 5,900. So I know it seems like a decent amount of Man U, but like that's kind of the slate. Maybe you push into getting Bowen there, and then you're left with like a decent amount. Maybe we didn't really talk goalkeeper, so there's a couple things I want to say. I don't think I'm going to play Areola or Fabianski against Watford. I get it. I understand they're just the most expensive keepers on slate, and Burnley's going to dominate, or West Ham's going to dominate possession. Sorry, it was the same color scheme. Anyway, so De Gea, if you're paying up, I would play De Gea personally. The reason why is because Man U, unfortunately, like gives away a lot of shots. So against Burnley, the same team, they won 3-1. He only had 7.1 points, but he had 2 saves. But then you look at like Aston Villa, he had 7 saves. Brentford, he had 8 saves, like 90. So like he's kind of where I want to go for payups, because like then you get like the potential of like a clean sheet win and like 4 saves. Like you don't get that a lot from payups. So a goalie that I actually am kind of interested in is Jordan Pickford. So Pickford has his like random outbursts where like he just gets like 17 fantasy points and stuff like that. He's good. He's a good shot stopper. Everton's been conceding a lot. They do have a new manager, but it's Newcastle, right? It's like Villa. I'd say is more. Is more fine-tuned, especially Coutinho got there. Norwich looks really good. That game was weird. I played the showdown in that game. I did okay, but it was an interesting game. I think was that the game that like what's his name? The American kid, Sargent, like he scored like 2 or 3 goals. It was ridiculous. It was just like Phil on tilt mode because I played like 2 of them. Or no, that was the Watford game. Yeah. Anyway, so Nick Pope against Burnley or against Man U for Burnley, always a shot stopper. He's has the chance to have games like like this against Arsenal, right? This against West Ham, where he just like stands on his head. He didn't play against Man U. He was out. I think it was Hennessy who played. But anyway, so even if you give up a goal and you get like 5 saves or 6 saves, man, you shot a lot against Middlesbrough, and that the goalie actually in that showdown did really well. Anyway, so I think you'd always play Dubravka as well. I don't know if I'm going to take a shot on Ben Forrester. I think he'll play. Watford brought in a new keeper though. I feel like, or maybe they're talking about bringing in a new keeper. They never did. And as a Man U fan who is like full on tilt, like if I see Van de Beek in a pivot with like Allen, I'm probably going to play him. So we'll see. But yeah, that's everything for me, guys. Again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And one more time, just please go join the Patreon. Helps us do this content for you guys. We're going to be trying to give you more and more content as things go along and get you in the Discord so you can ask me your questions on that. Have yourselves a fantastic day and good luck tomorrow.